Williams, and this evening to talk you through round 10 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge from the Hockenheim ring is Mr. Philip Morby. Say hello, sir.
Evening all.
So, welcome to the Hockenheim ring, a track with a very mixed history. Originally built in the 1930s, was actually initially banned from motorsport by the German Council, and was used as a test track by Audi and Auto Union. And over many years, and unfortunately many fatalities, the track has evolved and changed from an 8-kilometre speed course, which often would result in cars not finishing because they run out of fuel, to a much more technical, twisty and challenging track, which we find ourselves at today. We've got two 17-lap races around this 4.5-kilometre course, 16 challenging corners, and tyre wear this evening is going to be an issue. Phil, obviously we know Hockenheim from previous races here at the GPVWC and of course real world motorsport. What are your thoughts on the track and the racing we will be seeing this evening?
It's a very interesting track. We've got quite a few what I'd call straights, 4 or 5 in fact. You know, Parabolica being one of the single longest curves is effectively a straight. We've then got mixed in these quite fast medium speed corners, and then obviously we've got the Sector 3 stadium complex. So in terms of setting up a car, I can imagine it being quite difficult for the drivers out there as they try and get that kind of raw speed and still have the downforce of the stadium complex.
Absolutely, and it is a tricky balance. Just for reference, I went round in the default setup around here and I was just a pure 6 seconds off the pace. So setup is definitely going to be a factor here this evening, and with very hot track temperatures and as you say, a variety of corners and a variety of just general compromise required in that setup, we potentially could see pit stops. We haven't seen it so far, other than weather playing a factor, so we'll have to wait and see how the strategy pans out. But speaking of weather, last time out, well, we were at the wonderful Silverstone race circuit for round 9 of the challenge, and as usual we had some familiar faces in the top 3, but in general some great and varied racing as well, as he has done many times so far in the championship this year. Peter Barlach won round 1 with a comfortable 9-second lead, but the general theme of the evening actually was great point hauls for 2 teams in particular, Tanskanen and Smile Power. Smile Power had a backup driver, Scott Beresford. He's moved on from Enterprise up into the TSA car for Super Cup. He had one last hurrah on the challenge. He netted 2 third places, which really helped the Smile Power effort on the championship. Race 2 was won by David Yunt, and that has really cemented his impression on the championship. He currently leads the championship, but only by a mere 3 points to Peter Burlak, who is in second. James Johnson, consistently up in the points in the first Tasman cars, is currently third, followed by his teammate Jonathan Holmes. We then have Scott Beresford, who's now driving in Super Cup in 5th, so he'll tumble down the order, but he is closely followed by Jesper Tolberg, Roy Vasily, Ben Warren, Mike Schroten and Fran Lopez, rounding out our top 10. And currently, as things stand with the constructors, Tanskanen, with that great string of results, both their drivers are sitting pretty on 400 points coming into this evening. Just 99 ahead of THR though, and a few bad rounds could flip that over. Obviously, we're coming up to almost 2/3 point here in our season, Phil. We've seen a variety of results, winners, and the like. How have you found the sort of balance of power? We've seen the same faces, but not necessarily in the same order.
It's interesting. I mean, the name I always pick up is Roy Verzel, whether that's because I always see his name and just kind of associated with Formula Challenge. He's always there or thereabouts. He's currently in 5th place. We've got 2 minutes left of qualifying. I'm actually watching him go round at the moment with no rear wing. He's slowly making his way through the final few corners, try and get himself back to the pit. I don't think he'll be coming back out for another lap.
Yes, and that's a good spot. And as you say, we are in qualification. We have just 1 minute 40 seconds left here in our qualification session before warm-up and the first race. And I'll run down as follows. We have currently in P1 with 1:24.8 Peter Burlak, and he is only just separated by 0.05 of a second from Eric Strand, so very close between those top 2. We then have the Smile Power car of Jesper Tolberg and James Johnson, followed by Roy Vasily, currently P5. So then we have the second car for Tanskanen Racing, Jonathan Holmes, who's done 1:25.2, and he's followed by Ben Warren, James Kirk, and in fact the order's just changed. It's Ben Warren followed by David Yunt, a good lap there, 1:25.4. He's now splitting Ben Warren and James Kirk, and Tuanainen in the second THR, he's currently P10.
So as we go down to the final minute, it's probably worth mentioning a few grid penalties we've got from last time out in Silverstone. The ones to take note are Hansco Mebius. He's got a 10-place grid penalty. And the only other penalty to be aware of is Peter Duvillard. I probably pronounced that wrong. He's actually got a back of the grid penalty from Silverstone. So that's why he's actually done no laps in qualifying. He obviously knows he's going to be at the back. Not even bothered to put a time in.
Well, that is perhaps a good thought. You know, no point in doing a lap, obviously, if you're going to be starting at the very back. But I'm sure you'll be practicing all ready and raring to go for race 1 here. And of course, with this first corner, there may be fireworks. Of course, we do love a bit of viewer participation here. If you have any thoughts or comments you want to share with the broadcast, do feel free to tweet in using @GPVWC. And if you have any questions or general comments, feel free to chuck those into the melting pot, and we'll talk about those as we get there. But qualification, the clock has finished. The checkered flag will be out. We're just waiting for our drivers to complete their final laps.
I'm just looking to see who's going to really try and fight for the top there. We've got any guys going around. We've got Tolberg currently in 3rd place. He's just coming around the final corner now. Is he going to be doing a better lap, push him up from 3rd? Nope, seems not. So he's going to stick with 3rd. Here I'll come around, jump around the last corner. He's currently down in 9th place on a 125.4. Is he going to get a better lap out of that car? Nope, another person, afraid not. I think that could be the last person. I could be wrong there.
So we'll have to keep an eye. He's currently our pole sitter, and he does indeed improve. Already on pole, but he's now got not quite a 10th, but he's been able to increase that gap just a little bit to Eric Strachan, who
is on a lap.
Who is on a lap, so that might be all important. Say our top 3 at the moment covered by less than a 10.5, so we should hopefully see a good scrap between these 3 drivers. And in fact, the whole field is very close, from first all the way down to let's see here, down to 14. So pretty much to the end of our point scorers, all within a second of one another. And of course, with a huge slipstreaming opportunity around this track, that order could easily shuffle.
So it appears Strachan didn't do a quicker lap, but we've currently got someone else on a lap. David Junt. I don't quite think he crossed the line. Obviously he has. He's currently down in 9th place. He
does appear to be on a bit slow and still catching traffic.
Oh!
a little bit unsighted there, expecting that car to perhaps move off the line, but as it was a bit of a slow one to begin with, I'm not sure he will mind that too much. So as we're now going to migrate, Petter Barlak again has a solid pole position. Let's see if he can build on that pole position and grab himself another win in race 1. So one quick correction. Our Twitter handle this evening is not @GPVWC, but do feel free to tweet them anyway. They're wonderful. Tonight we are at GPVWC Live. That's the broadcast Twitter. Give it a follow so you can keep up to date on what's going on with broadcast and all sorts of other wonderful things. So
yeah, we're going to be looking after that today as we go into the warm-up session. It's about 5 or 6 minutes long, just to kind of check kind of fuel levels, because 17 laps long, quite a lot of fuel. And as you can say, with the tyre wear we expect to see, I suppose we'll have some people looking at taking less fuel and doing a one-stop strategy.
Yeah, potentially. I know certainly I tried that when I was racing in the Formula Challenge back in Malaysia, where again track temperature was an issue. It was up in the 40s there. And as it actually happened, sticking with the tyres, even though they're worn, was the way to go. So we'll just have to see. You know, it could be one of those things. You know, if you're in the midfield, why not give it a go? You never know. There's a bit of fresh rubber towards the end of the race. You might be able to scythe your way through the field there and be able to grab a couple of points. We've seen it happen in real life, and we've seen it happen here in the past. So we'll have to see how the drivers pan that one out. And of course, if they've got anyone on the virtual pit wall for them to call these things out, always useful.
I think guys near the pack, it's probably worth taking the risk to do a one-stop strategy again to see if they can catch up near the end. 17 laps long, I don't really know how long they're kind of in the pit lane fueling up, taking tyre change. But if I was near the back, which in Formula Challenge my one evening's worth, it usually was, it was definitely something I looked into. It just gave you more confidence in the car, knowing that near the end you wouldn't be on tyres that are near the end of their shelf life. Absolutely,
and of course these cars having huge aerodynamic pieces in a front and rear wing, of course, you know, that can cause a little bit of additional wear. And with the track, as the nature it is, you do have this stadium complex section, which is quite slow and technical, but you've got these very long straights, the opportunity to get some slipstreaming in, and you never know. A lower wing setup, it might make your tyre wear a little better. and it might give you the opportunity to get an even greater slipstream if you've got the gearing for that, of course.
There's also, I mean, around the stadium complex, there's also a very narrow, you know, there's not really many corners that you can go side by side, especially the medium speed ones. And then you're looking kind of towards, you know, how much runoff area you've got, and not particularly much around this circuit. Quite surprising, obviously, at the hairpin, there's quite a lot of runoff. Hopefully, it won't get used during the first lap. But yeah, I can imagine a few front wings needing replacing.
Indeed, and as we're just moving through our couple last few moments of qualifying, shall we do an on-board lap?
I think it's probably worth a go. I think that's just a relax going down around the last few corners at the moment. So it sounds, I think we'll go with him. I think I'll have a go at, hopefully I won't put the commentator's person in as we come around the last corner. So, get around the last corner, kind of go flat out, quite medium-ish average length down to turn 1, down a couple of gears, into a Nord curve. I'm going to get all these names wrong this evening. And then, you know, one of the many straights we have on the circuit is go down towards turn 2. It's nearly a hairpin, you're right down the gears. This is where Hamilton went off a few years ago in the rain. Turn 3 and turn 4, very easy to do. And we've got Parabolica, which I think is one of the longest corners, technically, the longest single corner in F1. It's just a long, sweeping left. Then we've got correction Hoekstra up ahead, kind of fighting position. Heavy on the brakes again. This could be an interesting overtaking area, especially with the runoff on the left-hand side, which you're not supposed to use. I think that was Sebastian Vettel on Tips and Button a few years ago. And then we go kind of start of these kind of medium speed corners, turn 7 there. It'd be quite difficult to get two side by side. Going to turn 8, known as Mercedes. We usually got Mercedes stand up there. Turn 9, turn 10, sort of flicks in and out. And then we're on to another one of these straightaway. Again, kind of the lack of downforce to help these guys. And then we're into Mobile 1, turn 11. Again, can't really go side by side. And then we're into this brilliant stadium area. Turn 12, a long left-hander, and then the flick to left and right at 13 and 14. And then you've got the two right-handers at 15 and 16. You're kind of easy on the power, kind of you really want to floor it, and he's got into the pits in the final corner. Brilliant timing there, Petter. And yeah, that's basically a lap of Hockenheim.
And as you say, it is actually interesting, of course. You're right on board with the drive, and you do get that perspective of course, the track where you place the car. And as you said earlier, you know, the old section of the track is very narrow, very tight. And as you were indeed pointing out, side-by-side action is going to be interesting. And in fact, just talking with a few drivers early on, it is going to be interesting to see if we have any incidents or dramas. Anyway.
How many cars we got on the grid today? I'm seeing about 37 drivers on the grid today, so it's quite a large grid. Well, a normal grid, I suppose, for Formula Challenge. So yes, turn 1, I imagine being quite hairy, and then kind of going towards turn 2. And hopefully by going through Parabolica of turn 5, I'd like to think they've split out a bit more before we get towards the hairpin of turn 6, and kind of more so towards the stadium complex.
Exactly, and of course, if there is drama earlier on, you never know. You might have a situation where if you do, say, lose a wing or have a bit of drama, getting some fresh boots on, they might pay some dividends, even if it's only just a lap or two. We'll have to see how the races pan out, and hope that we won't have any dramas, but we do have to keep an eye on those late charges through the field towards the end of the race.
Especially if weather, we don't expect rain during this event today, so you kind of have a bit of confidence that I doubt we're going to be making pit stops for wet weather tyres, so it kind of helps for people if they want to make that one-stop strategy that it's a bit more easy for them. Indeed,
and one actual point that we haven't touched on just quite yet, there is plenty of runoff here, plenty of tarmac around the place, and our race director, the wonderful Mr. Dave Carr-Smith, just warning people to respect those track limits, not to take the mick. Funnily enough, the kind of second back straight on this course is actually part of a drag strip of all things, which is also here at the Hockenheim Ring, and there is plenty of tarmac potentially used there. Anyway, we're just preparing, having our final few cars complete their warm-up laps here. The grid is being formed as I speak. Phil, any drivers you would suggest keeping an eye on as we go into race 1?
I always love watching Roy Virgil, and I think he is starting in 5th place for this event, so he's always kind of around to watch.
So I'm going to say keep an eye on David Yunt. He's had a storming mid-part of the season here, and I'm sure he'll be able to, if the situation is right, he'll be able to make some more wise-headed moves and move his way up the field. So, we're now waiting for the cars to go out to grid, and we will talk you through our are form up or as they go round on their formation lappers. I'm getting all the words confused in my head trying to say them all at once. They're just waiting for our final few drivers to take their positions. Interesting to see that quite a few actually are really waiting to try and get their cars out onto the grid as late as possible to try and save the cars in terms of temperature. So, as we pull away, shall I take the top half and you take the second half, Phil?
That sounds like a plan.
Lovely. So, starting on pole position is Peter Bolak for Walk Racing. He's followed by Eric Strawn in the Enterprise GP car, followed by Jesper Tolberg in the Smile Pile Racing machine. He's followed by the first Tanskern car of James Johnson. Roy Verzilli, Phil's one to watch, is in the first Zedric Racing car in P5. And Jonathan Holmes comes in P6 for Tanskern Racing in the second of their cars. Ben Warren is then first up in the Racing Team Stroke machine. He's in P7, followed by James Kirk in the Bastavik Grand Prix car. Then we have both THRs very close together. We've got David Junt and Juha Tuonainen, both driving their THR machines. Then we have Adam Osgar in the YTF1 machine. He is followed by Timu Tuika for Velocity Racing, Olli Pelkinen for Viking Racing, and Mike Schroten for Racing Team Schroten. And then, rounding up the top 15, we have Tommy Olger for Smile Power Racing.
Well, I'm probably going to take it here. So we've got Bruno Ferreira, Payseat Racing, down at 16th, Terence Stretch and Mike Wicks, 17th and 18th for Tano, another team with close teammates together. Richard Coxon, 19th for Cosmo Sport with Sandeep Kodhar in JRT, 20th. Hansko Mebius, 21st, Enterprise GP with Ben Hackerson in Viking Racing, 22nd. Quickstra is 23rd, YTF1 with the Team Proline Victor Silva in 24th. Sam Jones in Aura Motorsports, 25th. Ben Hall, the other Cosmo, 26th. And then, who have we got there? I think I'll let you pronounce that one in 27th there, Chuggy.
Andres Pestovs, I hope. I hope I haven't got that wrong.
That sounds right for Zedric Racing. Alexander van der Wood, Night Racing 28th, Ollie Woods 29th, and Florian Engel rounding out top 30 for Royal Blue, and I'll let Peggy finish them off.
So then in P31 we have Ben Willis in the Night Racing car. He is followed by the first backmarket brigade car of Mr. Comsai Smith, Mr. Simon Smith. Good luck to you, sir. Then we have Tim Stroud in the second playseat car. He's followed by Joshua Anderson in the second backmarket brigade car, called up at the last minute. Great to see Joshua back on the grid. Then we have Lewis McGade in the Aurora Motorsports car, followed by Dovidas Polaris. He's actually one of our strong title contenders. He's actually apparently in his grid box already. I'm not quite sure if that's right, but he's down in P36. And then rounding out the grid, we have Petter Duvila. I hope I haven't said your name too badly there. He's in P37 in the final walk racing car. As they conveniently all form up. And actually, one thing, one thing to keep in mind: the leaders have been set on the grid for a little while, so they're going to be. Brakes cold, tyres cold, we have to wait and see. Anyway, waiting for the lights now. 5 on, and we are go! Looks like a decent start there from Burlak and Strana. Keep an eye on that Smile Power car. He's had a good start as well. Burlak comfortably through turn 1 in P1. Under attack though now from Strawn. He's had a much better exit there from P1. And look at Verzilli! Look at Verzilli! He's up to P4. He's already challenged. We've got 2x2 going into turn 2 here. Johnson just about holding the position, but Verzilli will have the inside here. Has he got the job done? Ooh, just about. I think Johnson had to let him go there. He'll have the slipstream, though, here coming down to through Parabolica, down to the hairpin.
So Sam Jones lost his front wing in turn 1 there. He kind of got thrown into the inside wall. Going last place, Peter, I think it was Peter, went very wide in turn 1, obviously thinking he would avoid an accident. My guy Verzel currently up to third place as Petter and Strana fighting. This is one of those corners I don't think you can kind of do side by side, but they're going to have a go at it. Oh, they managed to hold it together. Well done, gentlemen. As they break cards from... Oh, I think Petter's got it back into first.
Indeed. Yeah, Petter just didn't get quite the acceleration he wanted out of the hairpin there. A little bit of a wiggle. Gave Strawn the opportunity, and Strawn right on the gearbox now as they come down towards turn 11, which is Mobile 1, down into the stadium section for the first time. And look at Verzilli. He's coming up the order. Lovely. He's up into P3 here. He's just waiting for these two to have a slight drama and wait for the profit moment to occur. But these two are, of course, seasoned racers. I'm sure there'll be no dramas between these two, having a good and fair fight so far. Just looking with our eyes back towards the back of the field, it looks like the two cars actually stopped just before Mobile 1.
Hoykstra is out. Yeah, Whoopi Hoykstra is out there. I'm just trying to work out what went on. Oh, he smashed the wall very hard. He went very wide, took a curb, got a bump, and then his car was actually on fire, and he took out a few others with him, I think.
There's one thing to watch.
Florian Engel with him.
Yeah, one thing to watch, that exit of turn 10. There are a few little anti-cuts. There's a curb there. Just unsettle the car and cause all sorts of dramas. In fact, actually, we're just hearing from cameraman extraordinaire, Mr. Redshaw, thank you very much, sir. He actually got caught on the curb, so unlucky there for Hoekstra and whoever got collected in that. But anyway, our leader, as we are going on to lap 2 here and are coming up to the hairpin, is Petter Burlak. Strawn having a good tasty look up the inside, just keeping Burlak on his toes, keeping an eye in his mirror. It looks like Burlak's got that one covered for now. Vasily still very close behind in the Zedric car. In fact, he looks to be gaining. Here on Strana as they come into Mercedes on lap 2. And I think Vasily, he would be wise here just to bide his time and let these two fight it out. And if there is a moment, profit on it.
Vasily's in a very nice position at the moment. He's got quite a bit of a gap to 4th place Jesper Tolberg, so he is kind of able just to sit back there and see what happens. Johnson and Holmes in 5th and 6th at Hanscom Racing, both trying to push Tolberg on to kind of see if they can. I'm sure they'll be working together to see if they can get those places off him.
Absolutely, and just watching the two Tansken cars going through the stadium complex here, definitely both carrying, I would say, a little more speed through some of these corners here, and evidently just waiting for Jesper to either make that mistake or get the good drive off onto one of these straights to make a move and get by. Meanwhile, David Junt, he's up to P7, in the starting place, I think of P8, and James Cook is just behind him in the basket car, so good starts for those guys. Mike Schroten and Ben Warren round out our top 10 here. Mike Schroten running P9 and Ben Warren running in P10.
That's two teams we've got in the top 10 running side by side with each other, Tansken and Racing Team Schroten, so that's good for them, good decent points for the constructors.
Absolutely, and it is part of the game, of course. You want to make sure that you've got good constructors points every round you can, really, to bolster your position in that constructors championship to finish as high as you can come the end of the season. So, meanwhile,
just watching Bruno Ferreira dive down into the hairpin turn 6 against Hansko Mebius. He nearly got the place. Hansko was kind of looking at Toyka ahead of him and kind of forgot about defending position, but he managed to just about hold it.
Good to keep your spatial awareness, of course, especially down into the hairpin, one of the slowest corners on the track, and thankfully everyone's still running out of that. No dramas to report, is good to see. Our leaders here still very close together. Strachan, he's really actually closing up through this section. I would be surprised.
I think he's bumped Petter just now. I was looking at him come out one of the stadium corners. He looked like he was very close to nearly pushing him along. He could be doing the same here in a minute.
Exactly. In fact, much better drive off this final corner. I'm not sure he'll be able to get alongside. Is Strachan running more wing? Just a little bit more, I think, than Burlak, and it just gives Burlak that opportunity just to run away ever so slightly. So Petter, he's going to have to be on his toes as we go through the end of Sector 2 and the whole of Sector 3. Of course, downforce very key through that sector, carrying a bit
very
of
much a
pace.
Vettel type setup.
Absolutely, yes.
High wing to then try and get away. He's obviously now got to do the catch up.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, as we're now on lap 4 here of 17 in this our first race, our top 15 are just covered by 10 seconds. The grid's still very close together. And in fact, if I just scroll down a bit, you have to go all the way back to you have to go all the way back to about P20 or so to get a gap up to 20 seconds. So the grid's still very close together, which is great to see. And who knows what we may have as the tyres potentially could go off, a few more positions changing hands. One thing to shout out though is it looks to me like Vasily, he's just taking a moment here, perhaps saving his tyres. We'll have to find out after the fact. The gap between himself and Strachan is now increased to a second, and Jesper Tolberg is looking a bit amorous at the back of that Zedric racing car. I think Jesper wants a podium here.
Looking a bit further down the field, I'm watching Peter Duvela, who started in last place all the way down in 37th. He's already up to 21st, and he's currently fighting Ben Hole for 20th. So I reckon if he can just get past Ben Hole, the 3 cars in front of him aren't too far up the road, and he could be pushing for a couple of points by the end of the race. If he keeps doing this, he's doing quite well up there.
And as we have completed lap 4, now on to lap 5, Jesper Tolberg has just set the fastest lap of the race, so clearly on a mission, and in fact, going into turn 2, Jesper's, he's left it late on the brakes, and Vasily has seen it coming. Oh, they're still side by side though, and it looks like Jesper, he's been able to complete that move through the kink of turn 4 there. Jesper Tolberg up into P3, and it looks to me that a few cars here, they've gone with different setups. We've seen it with Strachan and Burlak. It looks like Burlak is running considerably less wing, and that's profiting in 2 sections here, but he's costing him in the 3rd. And the way that Jesper just pulled alongside there is either a much better exit. As I say, a much better exit. Looks like Vasily's got a much better exit from the hairpin. He's now challenging back for 3rd place. He's on the inside here for turn 7, but has he got it done for Mercedes? Yes, he has. He's late on the brakes, but he's going to be compromised on exit. A little swerve as he puts the power down. Oh, Jesper's, he's brave. He's hung in there for the exit of turn 10. Avoided the curbs. Jesper still holding on to that P3. Great little fight there between Verzilli.
Helping Johnson and Holmes down in 5th and 6th as they kind of catch a piece of that pie. And they're dragging David Dunt in 7th place of PHR with them. And even James Kirk in 8th isn't far behind. So that could be a little bit of a party going on too.
It could indeed. If these guys keep scrapping, first of all, I'm sure Strachan and Burlack will be very appreciative. Gives them the opportunity to break away a bit, build a bit of a gap. And of course, everyone behind will be very appreciative because they'll catch up and smell an opportunity. So, want to keep an eye on here. We're on lap 6 of 17, and it's still our leader, Petter Burlack, but only a 10th of a second. Eric Strachan in the Enterprise GP car.
I just watched both Petter and Strachan go through turn 1. You're right. Petter actually had much more speed carrying out of turn 1, which really helped him down that first straight. And even here, I mean, Strachan's catching up. Is it going to be enough by the hairpin? It'll be close. I don't think so. I'll probably get that wrong now.
It's one of those things, of course, if you do opt for that higher wing setup, you are, of course, going to profit through these slower and more downforce heavy corners, to put it bluntly. But if you do have an issue where you've got a driver ahead of you, you've just got a little less wing, and therefore a bit more top speed, you won't get the opportunity to pass unless the driver has an issue. So Burlack, he's driven superbly so far. And you can just see there, going through Mercedes, Strachan so much more composed and carrying so much more speed going through here, through turn 10 onto the exit. He's right up behind him again. But as we were talking just a few moments ago, this section very tight, and ooh, looks to me like Burlack just missed his apex a bit, and Strachan gave him a bit of space. That was nice and gentlemanly of him there. Our driver might have profited on that.
I think overall Strachan kind of having a bit of a slide. We've missed Wurzel take back 3rd place from Fulberg, now down to 4th. And
spot.
Johnson and Holmes are slowly catching that battle, although Wurzel's gone wide into the final corner. I think he had a slight tap there from Fulberg in 4th. He's still holding 3rd position there, Wurzel.
Exactly, and he's going to have to be really focused on the exit here for turn 1. It's a fast corner, but if you get it wrong, you'll lose a lot of momentum, which will make you vulnerable. Looks like he's done that quite well, but I think Jesper's done it even better. He's closing up in the slipstream. Will you have a look? No. Very just observing that the time was not then. Let's just get the corner and the braking, the acceleration done properly here. You'll have this opportunity along this very long turn 5, the parabolic.
Strachan and Petter's worth watching. I think Strachan's taking the left-hand side from turn 6 hairpin. He thinks he can go all the way around the outside. He's kind of braked roughly the same. Petter's dived in deep and lost it a bit on the braking. Strachan should have the lead, and yes, he's taken it.
Indeed, that was the brave of the late, or the best of the late breakers. And Strachan, with that little bit of extra downforce, that will just give him a little more opportunity to brake a little bit later, get a bit more force onto the tarmac, braking force through downforce through the tyre. And Burlack, he was late as he could be, and just had a little lock up there, just unsettled the car, took him a bit deep. So he's lost the position for now, but now roles are reversed. You've got the faster car, or the car with the higher top speed, behind the car with better downforce. So in theory, Eric should be able to pull away here through the Sector 3, the technical section, but Petter should really make mincemeat of him on the straight. So I have to see how this one develops. It's going to be fascinating. Petter,
we saw that just now, actually. Petter was catching up Strachan at quite a rate of knots. Whether that's partly down to obviously the lack of downforce that's on this car, and just the slipstream was quite incredible. But it's through here he's going to be suffering that dirty air. It's not really going to be able to pull him up. It's now here where he's going to really help him. I think he's going to struggle. If anything, it is going to be round turn 5 parabolica. He just needs to stay close here. Don't put the power down too early. Good exit out here and turn 3 and 4, and really hold him around turn 5. I think he's going to get him back.
Yep, that was lovely and smooth. He's got the power down. Of course, Strachan with the extra downforce, a giant sitting duck. Look at that, just clean through. That is the power of aerodynamics, the pros and cons as well. And it looks like Burlack, he was taking no chances. He braked perhaps a little late. He was just a little squirrely. Oh, and he's really hanging the back of the car out, trying to get the power down. He's just about covered Strachan there, but he's going to be slow through turn 7 here into Mercedes. Will Strachan smell a look? He's put his car up the inside. He's a little later on the brakes, but I don't think he'll be able to do much from there. He'll line him up through Mercedes here. Got his apex just about right. Strachan, he's looking feisty. He wants this win. Burlack going full defensive, trying to keep this Enterprise GP car behind. This is going to be a heck of a scrap to watch, as we got on the 8th lap now. We've got mere 9 remaining. Not even to half distance yet, and these two have been scrapping the whole way. Burlack not allowed to run away as he has done in previous rounds, and it looks like we're going to have a cracking fight here. Meanwhile, one to keep an eye on is Verzilli and Tolberg. They've been fighting as well. Verzilli still holding P3, but Tolberg not that far behind. One again to keep an eye on. And while all this has been going on, it looks like Jonathan Holmes has been able to get by his teammate James Johnson. So just a switch of positions there for the tanks and racing drivers. Same points for the constructors, but not for the drivers. So have to keep an eye on that one. And let's keep an eye on David Yunt. He's still in P7, second behind James Johnson. Perhaps just thinking about conserving tyres, who knows? And waiting for the latter laps to unfold and perhaps make a move then.
So I'm actually currently looking at 18th place Peter Duvela. He's all the way 37th to 18th, so he's already made 19 places. Ollie Pelkinen down in 17th place. There's only 6/10 of a second up the road. I mean, I'm looking, he's about 3 seconds away from a points paying position. 16th and 15th, or 14th even, are very close together, all going through. In fact, there's about a team of 4 or 5 of them. We've got Koika in 12th, Oscar in 13th, Ferreira 14th, and Gretchen 15th, all really fighting each other for that last point and a bit more. And even Polaris wants a piece of this, he's joining in. And Pelkinen and Duvela are kind of catching up along the way as well. As Duvela goes down the inside of Pelkinen, went wide there at turn, I think that was turn 10. So that's him up to 17th, and now he'll be kind of trying to attack that party.
So Polaris, he's having a strong drive here. He was back right on the last row of the grid. He's up to P16, he's close to points. I'm sure he's going to be motivated to try and grab a bucketful here. As our 2 leaders, Burlak and Strawn. Strawn looks like he's got a better exit actually going through turn 1. I was just about to say the gap has definitely shrunk. Strawn now ahead going into the braking zone. Who's going to be later on the brake? Strawn is just about, and he has the line. So that one is locked down. Burlak's got the exit just about nailed. I'm sure this will be another simple pass for Burlak. Just keep in that slipstream and use it as a massive slingshot. Look at that. All the way right up as late as he dare, and he's just pulled alongside. And Strawn, he's being wise about that. He knows he can't do anything about that. A little bit of extra top end speed, and he's just got his braking absolutely right. And who knows, Petter might make it an issue here. A little bit of light up there on the right rear of Petter's Walk Racing car there. Perhaps displaying a little bit too much rubber down here on lap 10 of 17, leaving the hairpin. Now move down into Mercedes, and Burlak again. There's a little bit of rubber coming off the left rear that time. So perhaps a bit of locking, a bit of wear. I'm sure Strawn will be seeing that, rubbing his lips with joy there, because he'll have an opportunity, I'm sure. Tyre wear is going to be an issue.
So Duvela's up to 17th, and he's nearly on the back of 16th of Polaris already. He's really fighting from the stretch, rather physically down at the hairpin. Kind of gave him a bit of a nudge, but Stretch managed to keep him 15th and last points paying position at the moment. That's Oscar, I think, had a problem. Yeah, Oscar's lost 2 places very quickly, and that's Ferreira's gone. Oh, there's a bit all going on at the back here, and then Stretch has lost places, and that's allowed Polaris through. Duvela's getting involved all over the place around here. There's about 6 of them all fighting for position.
So just hearing that Oscar just had a moment, he got caught in the curb and then onto the anti-cut, which has sent him around. Unfortunately, by the sounds of it, it's collected a few other drivers as well. Disastrous, as that will no doubt damage those cars, but that's one of those things we did mention. You've got to keep an eye on those track limits. There are anti-cuts to prevent you and to warn you not to push your luck. And unfortunately, it looks like Oscar has just been caught out there.
Hansco's had a problem with, I think it was Ben Warren there. He kind of had got nudged onto and lost his front wing, so he's currently in the pits down in 20th position, 21st now, having his wing put back on.
Then just keeping an eye, Jesper Tolberg in P4, he's getting closer again to Roy Verzilli. Perhaps he's just saving himself for a second effort here. Is actually, we need to keep an eye on both this battle and the battle for the lead. Both sets of drivers, first of all, both very physically close on track, and they're now catching back markers. Just saw Joshua Anderson very gentlemanly move aside there, let these guys get through and get on with their fight. We'll have to see if these back markers are a factor as we go round turn 12 for the 11th time here, coming through this final section to complete lap 12 of 17. My
guy Verzil, he's kind of dropped back a little bit. He's still got, obviously, still kind of fighting Tolberg down in 4th. You've got Anderson yet, currently going down the lap by Holmes and Johnson. They go by.
Interesting to see that Verzilli, sorry to speak over you, he went defensive on the start-finish, and I think that's kind of compromised him going through turn 1. Tolberg is very close behind now, almost rear wing under front wing there, or front wing under rear wing I should say, as they go through turns 3 and 4. Jesper might have an opportunity to get up in the slipstream, but Roy has got a great exit there. He's really been able to pull a couple of car length gap. So those tyres clearly still feeling fresh and giving Roy some traction there. Jesper, much later on the brakes, clearly got that smile, braking nice and sweetly, and that gap still remains roughly the same, just a few temps between these two guys. As I now cast my eyes back forward to Petter Burlak and Eric Strawn, they're still scrapping. They're at Mercedes, is going through there now. Strawn clearly. He's been able to just carry a bit more speed here through these tighter, more technical corners where the downforce does play a part. And we'll have to see as tyres go. You never know. Strong with an extra bit of downforce might be wearing out a little more quickly. We were told, or have been told, that tyre wear could be an issue, so you never know. You might just have a little bit of risky wear going on. And my goodness gracious me, I don't know quite what happened there, but it looks like Burlack got stuck on the curb or something. Plenty of sparks coming off the back of that Warp racing car, and Strawn now really up behind him over the start-finish. Don't know if he'll be able to challenge it. He's having a look, he's having a peek. Burlack, he's taking his line, he's covering him either way. Focus on the exit here. Strawn still right up the gearbox. He might get the opportunity here, as he has done a few times, to get the pass done into turn 2, but thinks wiser of it. Perhaps knowing that really he'd only be repassed here. So we'll have to see. Will the brinksmanship continue? Will Strawn try and nail this exit? Keep close to Burlack and try and take whatever little bit of slipstream he can get, and get another chance of being late on the brakes down into the hairpin turn 6. He's certainly very close.
Silver do probably one of the best overtakes I've seen so far this evening on Helkinen, and I think that was Thomas Gretsch, who were fighting each other in kind of turn 8 Mercedes, and they both went wide into turn 10, and Victor Silva just ducked down underneath both of them, managed to gain 2 places. He sadly lost the last point playing position, Helkinen, so he's down in 16th at the moment, but I think he's determined to get that point back. That was a beautiful move, sir.
Lovely stuff. And while you were saying that, Jesper Torbuk, he's found a way past Roy Verzilli there, down into the hairpin. It was a very brave late on the brakes move. Got it just about sorted out. Both were kind of compromised on traction out of the corner. And Jesper came out the strongest of the two. But Roy, he hasn't given up. He's still very close. We'll have to see if he was able to use any of these slipstreaming opportunities to great effect. As now just keeping an eye on Strawn and Burlack. The gap lap through the last time post was merely a 10th. It is now.
We've lost to Tanskin Racing. Jonathan Holmes down to 19th. He was
very
5th or 6th. I've just realised he's obviously gone in for an issue to have his front wing replaced, I guess. He's currently running around in 19th.
Very good spot. And another thing that I've just noticed is that David Junt is has dropped 3 seconds.
Strawn is ahead. He's managed to get ahead of Peter Burlack there.
He has indeed, but he's going to lose this again. Unfortunately, just that rear wing is really costing him here, down through the parabolica. And he hasn't actually, Burlack hasn't been able to get that far ahead. He's ducked in for a little bit of slipstream. Burlack goes defensive. Who's the latest on the brakes? Looks like they're fairly even, actually. Burlack will be a little compromised through the exit. Oh, Strawn getting on the power much earlier, letting that rear ring right under the back of Burlack's car. And he's going to be well up close and personal into Mercedes. Always going for the normal racing line. That's going to be brave. That's always going to result in a little bit of a drama on the exit. These cars will go and move towards the exit of a corner, and Strawn puts a little bit of momentum there, but he's still pretty close all in all as we go through Mobile 1 here on our 14th lap. If he wants to make a move, he'll have to make it soon, and if I were him, I'd perhaps be thinking the next few laps what he needs to do, just prepare the car and himself mentally, and get just to make a mistake, perhaps get that little bit of traction out of that hairpin corner and just keep him behind for this final section where we know that Enterprise car is faster.
We've got a bit of traffic coming up. Ollie Woods, and I believe it was Sam Jones is up ahead as well. It'll be interesting to see how much of a part they play as they're coming up towards Ollie Woods. He'll probably be getting about 2 flags now. I'm hoping he moves out the way soon. That's going to be putting petrol off a little bit, kind of braking zone, because we don't want the car probably to go back in. That's not the best place to pull over Ollie, but that will just about do as they both get away from it. But Strawn's kind of reeling Petter back in, but I think that lap marker may have stopped it this time round, although obviously commentator's curse. He's now getting rather close to him. I think he's too far back.
Yep, he's too far back on this time round, and unfortunately, cars needs to be physically on track somewhere unless the back marker's willing to go for a little bit of a trip across some grass. Yeah, just unfortunate timing there. Can't really do too much about that. He did try and do his best to get out of the way, though.
Yeah.
One thing I just want to quickly mention: the demise of the Tankskin car. David Yunt has fallen down the order a bit to P8. Don't know if he was involved or not, but he's lost the pace to Ben Warren in the Racing Team Trophy car. And the big beneficiary seems to have been James Kirk in the Bastovic car. He's up to P6, so a good run here for James in that Bastovic Grand Prix car. And we still have James Johnson running in 5th for Tanskinen. That'll be a good result, or bucket of points. And Roy Verzilli has now got a half a second gap to Jesper Torbuk. He's been able to get by again. This gap still developing after 17 laps. The gap still only half a second, so anything still could happen between these two. We're just now
looking a bit further down the order. We've got Timi Troika and Schroeter fighting for 10th and 11th. And Jan from Flores are rather close in 8th and 9th. And Petter de Velde, I mean, he's up to 12th place now, and he's even watching this Groton-Toyka battle just from a few seconds away, about a second actually, in fact. And yeah, he's on for some very good points considering he started from the back of the grid, so well done to him.
Exactly, we've got some good comeback drives. Polyaris, he's up into P9, and you just mentioned, we've now got Strawn. As we were just talking over that, Strawn, he's got a good exit through turns 3 and 4. He's trying to go on the racing line. Oh, a lovely cut back there. Will he be able to get the power down? No, it looks like Burlak's got the traction, perhaps a little bit less wing has helped there as well. But Strawn is right up the gearbox, that car going into Mercedes. We're on lap 16 of 17. Oh, my goodness gracious me! That has to be a contender for overtake of the season. I know we've got 7 races to go, but goodness gracious me. I want to see that on a replay. But Petter isn't giving up, though. Petter hasn't given up.
There.
Oh, my goodness. These two have been scrapping so hard, so fast. To pull off that quality of move, Strawn, my hat is off. That is sensational. Now just keep it on the island for another lap, and that will easily be one of the best moves I've seen in racing, full stop. Sensational stuff.
It's going to be interesting to see now if Petter's been able to get the advantage going into turn 1. He's got a bit faster, but yeah, it'd be a bit crazy to dive down for turn 1 here.
Exactly.
Just stay on the back of him, which he's struggling with.
Yeah, the factor here is we do have a back marker. If Strawn is clever, he might be able to use that back marker slipstream to try and build up a bit of momentum, just to negate the fact he's got a bit more wing. Looks like the back marker is nicely placed. It's Sam Jones in the Aurora car. This might be the deciding moment of the race here. Who is going to get their positioning right? But Petter, goodness gracious me, the straight line speed of that walk racing car. He is alongside into the braking zone. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Looks like it's going to be Burlak. He's perhaps over-braked himself. Jones is in the way. As Burlak got the job done, there's contact. Burlak is ahead, coming out of the hairpin. That might be the move well and truly retaken. Is Strawn going to try the same move again? I'm sure Petter's going to be aware of it. Is he going to be brave here? Not this time round.
I think that kind of having Sam Jones, he was eventually Strawn was boxed in there. Had to brake a little bit earlier than probably he wanted. He couldn't really attack Petter into that corner, which pretty much gave him the position.
Exactly. We're just going into the stadium section here. We're going to have to stay with us to the end of the race. We only have a few more corners remaining. Strawn still hounding the back of that walk racing car as we go through turn 12 for the final time in this race. They've exited it that nicely. Strawn still right up and close. Ooh, he's along this side. Oh, there's contact. No. There was always going to be contact there. Oh my goodness, that was late. He was trying to keep that move sorted. But meanwhile, Jesper Tolberg, he's coming round. Jesper Tolberg is going to take the win for Smile Power. Petter Burlak retakes second. Eric Strawn, he gentlemanly waits back for him. Goodness gracious me. Jesper Tolberg from P3. He got past Roy Vasily, who actually dropped to 5th during the last few moments there. Jesper Tolberg wins race 1 from 3rd place with just a few corners to go. Goodness gracious me, the results are still filing in, but Jesper's probably just got a smile from ear to ear. I'm just watching my man
Vasily. He's come around the final corner, and Ben Willis has taken a very tight line to kind of stay out of the way, and he's gone onto the curb, and it's kind of spat him back out, and Virgil just slightly tapped him and spun him around, and it's just allowed Johnson there to just take the place a few hundred metres from the finish line.
So desperately unlucky, just catching up traffic and various bits of drama. But goodness gracious me, there's one thing I mentioned early on, it was actually Vasily, just keeping an eye on those battling front two, and sure enough, although it wasn't Vasily profiting, Jesper Tolberg, right place, right time, a sensational win, surely one which is going to live in the memory from what really was a very last chance move. I think Eric Strawn, he was just hoping that Petter saw him, just gave him a bit of space. So that was literally, it was going to be that or finish second. So yeah, it was a late move. You might question if Petter perhaps turned in a little early, but I'll tell you, won't be questioning it. Jesper Tolberg, what a win! I'm sure we'll be hopefully chatting to him after the race. Goodness gracious me, that's going to have really put a smile on his day. Anyway,
yeah, I'm just watching the replays of Petter's thing now, and yeah, I can kind of agree. He could have possibly, he has turned in early. Has he? I would argue whether he has turned in for a corner. I think Strawn has dived in too deep. I mean, Strawn hasn't helped himself here, but Petter's tried covering it. It's kind of Petter should have known that he wasn't going to be able to stop that. At the same time, Strawn should have known he probably wasn't going to make that. But fair play to Strawn for giving the place back at the end there.
Yeah, I'm sure that one
they both lost the 1-2. They both lost the top steps of the podium, but at least he tried his best to rectify it.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a review by stewards of the disciplinary committee after the fact. But let's quickly run down our finishing order here while we still have it. Jesper Tolberg wins from Petter Burlak. He is then followed by Eric Strawn, James Johnson, Roy Vasily, James Kirk, Ben Warren, Dovidas Polaris from the back of the grid, Timu Toika, Petter Duvliar in the second walk racing car. He finished in P10 in the end, also on the back of the grid, so good drive from those two. Mike Schroten in the second of the racing team Schroten cars. He's followed by David Yunt, Bruno Sousa Ferreira for Playseat Racing, Adam Osgar in the YTF1. Looks like he recovered and got some points, which is always great. And the final points paying position goes to Ollie Pelkonen in the Viking racing car. Unfortunately, just because so much action was going on, just could not keep up with all the moments going on there. Action everywhere. It's what we love to see. Phil, any particular highlights, or was it just that wonderful last chance drama there?
I want to make a shout out to Petter de Vela there, all the way from 37th to 10th. I mean, he managed to avoid all the few incidents to begin with, and just kind of kept going, and battles are kind of going on around him, and he was just kind of turning up to them and saying, well, you know, you guys keep battling, I want to be at the front. And I'm confident for him for race 2. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do from there. My guy, Vasily, just a bit unlucky there. He's, like I said, Ben's tried getting out of the way of the other battles going on, and he's just jumped onto the curb, and it kind of spat him out a little bit. And he's tried getting out of the way of other incidents, and sadly, he's kind of ended up on his backside and just lost a place or two because of it. Racing incident in my eyes. As for Strawn, Petter, yeah, it's going to be interesting, that one, because Petter's turned in too early. Yeah, probably, but I think he would have still made the corner. Strawn is very close. I didn't see if he was alongside or not, but he was very close to it. That's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, Tolberg, he had his fight with Vasily there the whole time and kind of got ahead of that, and then just took the advantage when it came. And yeah, great race win.
Absolutely, and yeah, I'm sure that will be the talking point, at least out of this first race. Did Petter turn in early? Did Strawn just chuck it up the inside? To my eye, I think he was definitely alongside. I think, you know, it's difficult though. You know, we're talking fractions of a second here, but to realise that someone's one alongside you, and two that you need to leave space and adjust your line and all the race. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a massive talking point, but what it has given is a race win to the very hard grafting drivers over at Smile Power. Congratulations for that. I think that's their first of the season so far, if I'm not mistaken. And as you say, that has shaken things up. We've got some guys who've done incredibly well coming through the field, all the way from the back. They've got themselves some points, and of course we've got a reverse grid here. So they could easily find themselves in the top 10 off the start here. And if they can continue that pace into race 2, knows where they'll end up. So goodness gracious me, we've got one heck of a race to look forward to as our reverse grid number has been chosen. It is P17. I'm just trying to remember who was on P17.
That would be Mark Wicks, I believe.
Wonderful stuff. So Mark Wicks is on pole position for our second race here. So lots of talking points. I'm sure we'll get the views of the drivers and guys. If you have any opinions on that last minute move, you'll see replays and things by this point, which we won't have had the chance to perhaps see in the commentary booth. Do feel to chip in. We are at GPVWC Live. Hashtag it with FC for Formula Challenge, and we'd love to know what your views are. Goodness gracious, I still can't believe that. That is motor racing through and through. You got two guys, they have been battling the whole race, chest at, well, 170 odd miles an hour in these cars, and all of a sudden just one small moment, and there you go, there's your win taken away, and there's a driver who's just been biding their time, playing it cool and tactically, going and taking a win. And actually, yes, we've had a tweet just before, if I may butt in, from Mr. Tom Jakes, that's Thomas Jacobs, tweeting in that it reminded him of Korea Formula Challenge last year, which was actually Tom's first win in very similar circumstances as it happens. But as Tom had there back in Korea last year, right place and right time, and yes, but he was there. I think you can't take anything away from it. It was a good drive.
I don't actually think we saw, unless it was, I think it was Johnson or Holmes, which one went near the back, unless one of them did a pit stop. I don't actually think we saw any pit stops in the end.
Yes, our fears of tyre wear perhaps were unfounded, or it was a case of the tyres can just about last. So we unfortunately did lose one of those Tankskin cars. We don't quite know why. Just actually asking if anyone stopped the tyres in the chat with the drivers. So we'll have to see if tyre wear is or isn't an issue. You never know. With these things going in to a race, we've got drivers just completing their final few laps here on second wall. We've got 2 minutes to go, just before the final race. And with a reverse grid, of course, we've got drivers all mixed up. We've got the past guys, obviously, well, they'll be now down in P17 or so. We will have, I'm sure, some interesting battles along the way. Phil, anyone that you would suggest to keep an eye on here in our second race?
Well, as ever, I'm probably going to get a chicken process soon, or I hope so. Roy Mazzilli, as ever, Zedric Racing. I want to see what Peter, I can't remember his surname, I've just lost it. Where's he gone? Can't even find him in the list actually at the moment. So I'm struggling to think we've actually started this race too. There we go. Peter De Vela, all the way up to 10th. Why not? I kind of feel like he could have a good go at this. I think he's got nothing to lose. So he got decent points in that last race right from the back. So yeah, I can't see him in this one.
Very good. I would suggest keeping an eye on Poliaris. He, again, one of the ones who came through the grid. He's evidently got the car hooked up quite nicely to be able to make his way through the field there. And I'm sure he'll be around the first couple rows. He might be able to profit. And actually, this is another fact. We did mention it at the start of the first race. Potential for drama. The track is narrow. The corners don't really allow space for side-by-side driving, as we ironically kind of saw there at the end. With some slower cars at the front, some faster cars slightly behind them, you never know. We might get a few bits of contact here and there, and that could be all important. You never want to see a massive pile up at turn 1 or 2, but you never know with these things. Just a little bit of misjudgment. Perhaps one car's brakes not being quite as sorted on form as others, and that could cause just a slight moment, which could cause a bit of drama. Hopefully we won't see it. And as the drivers are now completing their final few laps here, in the warm-up session, we're just about to tick over to our second race here of 17 laps. We will have grid forming momentarily. Anyway, as we will have our grid forming just in a moment. Phil, would you like to take the top half of the field? I take the second.
Okay. So, as we get our good old R-Factor man start off, it's Mark Wicks who will be on pole for Katana. And interesting, it's Terence Gretsch, his teammate, in second. Mark's never actually led formation lap in GPVWC, so good luck to him. Ollie Pelkonen down in third for Viking Racing with the YTF1 with Adam Oscar in fourth. Bruno Cesar Ferreira in fifth for Face Seat Racing. And then we've got David Dunt, THR, in sixth. First of the racing team Schrotens, Mike Schroten in seventh with my man, Peter De Vela, actually down in eighth. Kimi Koika with Velocity Racing ninth with Dovidas Polaris in 10th with Pacific. The other racing team Schroten of Ben Warren in 11th with James Kirk Pacific. So, Pacific Sandwich, or a racing team Schroten sandwich technically, in 12th, James Kirk. My guy, Virgil, 13th, for Zedric Racing with James Johnson, 14th, for Hanskin Racing. Eric Strahan, 15th for Enterprise GP with obviously Peter Barak behind him in 16th. And Jesper Kohlberg in 17th. I'll let you go from there, Chunky.
Certainly. So, in P18, we have the second Tansen car, driven by Jonathan Holmes. He is followed in the Team Pro Line car by Victor Silva. Tommy Olger is in the second Smile Power car. He's followed by Andreas Pestos in the Zedric Racing machine. He's followed by Simon Smith in the first Backmarker Brigade cars up in P22. Sandeep Choda, the JRT, will follow the first Backmarker Brigade car there in his JRT. Sam Jones in the Royal Motorsports will start in P24. He's followed by Hansco Mebius, and he's followed by the second Royal Motorsports, driven by Lewis McGlade. P27 will be Tim Straub in the second Place Seat Racing car. He's followed by Ollie Woods in the Velocity Racing machine, followed by Ben Haxon in the Viking Racing car. Joshua Anderson is in the second Backmarker Brigade car. He will start P30 for this one. And he is followed by Ben Willis and Alexander van der Wood in the Night Racing cars. And then we have Richard Coxon in the Cosmo car, followed by Juha Tuonainen. Evidently had a drama during the first race there. He starts P34. And then we have Florian Engel in P35, followed by Wupke Hoekstra, our first retirement from Race 1. He's starting P36. So, one thing that I actually wanted to mention in the first race on the formation lap, of course, we've got our last car here, this being Wupke Hoekstra, just going through turn 8, being Mercedes. And our leaders are already at the penultimate and are just about to round the final corner. So cars are going to be sat on the grid, they're going to warm up a bit, the brakes are going to cool, the tyres are going to cool, which could be a factor. Of course, with these second races with the reverse grids, you might have these faster cars perhaps dragging their heels a bit, trying to keep the temperature in the car, and you've got the guys at the back who are just minding their own business, following the line. Hopefully we won't have any dramas. But Phil, any thoughts as we are just about to wait for the final cars to form up on the grid?
Well, I'm hoping Wicks has a good race. Like I said, it's the first time he's done the formation lap, so I'm kind of hoping he has a good one. Just kind of sat turn 1, ready to see him. We've still got a few cars going around the final corner now, getting into position.
As they are finally getting position, we've had a disconnect. Bruno Sousa Ferreira in the first of the play seat cars. He's disconnected. That's a drama. Hasn't even made a start. But our lights are now on. The engine notes rise. And we are racing. Mark Wicks looks like he's got a good jump there. He's certainly had a good pull away. His teammate has also had a good start. They might be side by side as they come down into turn 1, but they're sensible. Wicks leaves space. Perhaps too much space. He's been overtaken by his teammate. Wicks falling down the order. Pelkonen takes advantage. Lost momentum. Osgar's through. And we've got, by the looks of it, the THR of David Junt. He's having a look around as well, as I think that's Mike Schroten in the racing team Schroten. He's looking like he's having a look. We've now got Tim Straub apparently in the lead. That must be a timing error. As we've got Terence Gretsch, who should be leading, going down past the Parabolica, down into the hairpin on turn 1.
I'm just seeing, yeah, Tim Straub's actually last at the moment. Hoekstra also spun. There's fights going on now in the hairpin.
Yeah, we've got a few cars, they're all just getting caught out by each other's speed and momentum. Looks like Junt is under attack here from Schroten for P7 and 8. And we've got Poliaris, my one to watch. He's up in P9. He's been able to make a bit of progress in these early laps. Let's keep focused, guys. Make sure you don't clatter one another and damage your car and potentially ruin yourself for the race. We've got our second retirement. That's Ben Hackerson in the Viking car. Looks like he's had an issue or a drama halfway through. And it looks like we've got a few cars stuck on the exit of Mercedes. I think that's Olja.
Yeah, Hoekstra's gone off hairpin and he's on the curb and it's just spat him out, and that's why he's got suspension damage and that's him out.
Disastrous. Meanwhile, Gretsch still leads. He's under attack from Adam Osgar in the YTF1. Olli Pelkonen is in P3 and not far behind him. We've got Timu Toika. Timu, of course, a very accomplished driver. He's not far in P4 either. And we have Junt, our first of our championship contenders, profiting. He's getting a good race, a good start to his race here in P2, as he has done many times. He is not far behind in P6. And we've got Schroten not far behind him either. Oh, Junt very late on the brakes there, down into turn 2.
Polaris there on Wicks, so Polaris up 8 Wicks down to 9.
Oh
no!
Spin drama. Kirk's off by the looks of it. Everyone's trying to avoid. That's a drama. I think Wicks was on the inside there.
Kirk's lost his front wing from that incident, so he's going to be down the order by the end of this. He is still going though, which is good.
Is indeed, and we'll have to get that repaired as it looks like our timing issue has finally been sorted, which is good news. We won't have to try and improvise in our mind. Terence Gretsch still leads on lap 2. He is still being followed by Adam Osgar. That gap is half a second, or it's visibly closer now. Osgar, for my eye, King, he's got a bit more downforce on the car again. Right, Wicks, we hear, has spun. They hear that Wicks had spun. There was some contact with Polaris as I was doing
Wicks,
it.
Oh, Kirk is out, I think. I think he's got suspension. No, Kirk is still there, but he's dropping down the order. No, Kirk is out. James Kirk DNF. And what's happened here? Then I'm just watching a replay of it now. He's on the curb, and he spun round. So he's gone on the artificial turf, the Astro stuff. He's come around. He's spun straight in front of Onsai Smith. I think that was there.
Junt pits from P4. So is there damage? We don't know.
Yeah, he's the DNF. That's a shame. So Onsai Smith also has damage. So I assume he's going to be in the pit soon.
We're hearing that Junt might have lost his front wing. Might be a fuel issue. If they accidentally put quality fuel in the car, that's always a drama to avoid. Hearing it, Junt's done a drive-through actually, so that might have been a jump start. We don't know. Might have to ask him after the race if he can make his way through the grid. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, our leader still is Terence Gretsch. He's doing a great job. The gap between himself and Osgar has increased to 1.1 seconds. Osgar now under attack from Timu Toika in the Velocity Racing car. And
Willis round. Willis, he's just about to avoid people. I'm just watching a replay of that.
So meanwhile, while we're talking about this, Petr Burlak, he's still in P13. He's just going past Choda there into the hairpin. But Eric Strawn is already up to P6. Evidently, he's got designs on winning at least one race tonight. And he's made a good start. And he's got Holmes behind him in the Tungsten car. In fact, both Tungsten cars are behind him.
So it was Van der Wood spun his own teammate there. Who's not racing the other driver? Ben Willis. That's why Ben Willis, I saw him going round.
So we've got a change for P2 Toy Cup. Lovely move round the outside at turn 12, which is the Sachs curve in the stadium section. Lovely stuff. Nice and clean. It looks like Oscar, he's under attack from Schroten. Oh, Schroten, he's lost it on the exit there. Oh, a little bit too much power, and that's the end of that position, please. And so, that is really unfortunate. He'll drop well down the order there as he has to wait for the field to pass by.
He was trying to overtake Oscar, but he's pretty much on the grass, and he's kind of put too much power coming out of it. And Pelkinen and Strahm are very close to hitting him.
We've got a fight going on here for P5. Strahm is really having to defend against Holmes. By the looks of it, that little bit of extra rear wing is going to be hurting him here again. He's now boxed in behind Pelkinen. These three all racing for the permission, and they are almost three wide down into the hairpin here. Looks like Strahm's been able to manoeuvre his way through. He's braked a little late. Pelkinen, he's got a nice tight line, and just about they've all avoided some dramas there. As Strahm, he's up into P4 now. He's been able to gain a position after being under attack from the Tanskinen car of Holmes on exit of turn 4.
So yeah, the Tanskinen guys are together again.
And also Roy Verzilli and Jesper Tolberg, they're back together. They're in 8th and 9th respectively behind the Tanskinen cars. And Tolberg, evidently buoyed by that wonderful victory in race 1, he's looking racy. He wants to get by Verzilli again.
So interesting though, Strahm and Petter started together, and Strahm up in 4th, and Petter now in 10th at the moment, catching up on that battle with the Small Power and Tanskinen and Zideric racing cars.
Indeed, and it actually looks like there's quite a train behind Burlag. We've got all the way 10th, I'd say all the way down to at least 16th, 17th, 18th in one line altogether. So that's one group, and we've got a second group, as it looks like Oscar, he's made a mistake. Strahm now up into 3rd. Looks like he just ran wide there on the exit of turn 1. It's going to be a critical corner here. You need that momentum to head into turn 2. Unfortunately, a little moment there has cost him. So meanwhile, as that's going on, Toyka, now he's got a bit of free air. He looks like he's going to be moving and shaking up towards Terence Gretsch. Gretsch doing a great job in the Katana Motorsports car. He still leads as we're on lap 5 here of 17. Nice and calmly through the hairpin. Just keep his car ticking over nicely. Just focus on getting your braking right, getting your acceleration out the corner right, and putting the fastest laps in that you possibly can. But Toyka now, he's got a bit of free air. We'll have to keep an eye on that gap to see if he's able to make any inroads into it. And let's also not forget that actually Oscar, he's been able to get past Strahm. I would only assume that's down into the hairpin. Perhaps Oscar's also running a little less wing than Strahm is. Oscar, he's not laying down. He's not saying, oh no, I'll let you pass. No, he's fighting for this podium position. That's what we like to see. But as we saw in the first race, Strahm clearly got this car set up to dominate sectors 3 here. He's really hustling the back of that YTF1.
I'm watching the Sam Jones train in 13th. He's got Sandeep Kodra in 14th, Hansco Mebius in 15th, and Mike Schroten, racing team Schroten in 16th. Desperate to try and get on the points. And then yeah, this pretty much is the train actually. Got Tunyan in 17th as well, kind of trying to get a piece of the action. As Jesper Tolberg past Roy Verzilli, and he's going for Johnson. Oh, there's going to be contact here. There's a bit of contact between Pelkinen. He's kind of dive bombed and got a couple of places off that all. He's now up to 7th, but now he's on the Parabolica, and it's going to be a long corner. I mean, Tolberg's trying to get down the inside, which you're not going to find any space there. He's going to have to try now fall to the inside for turn 6. I think he's going to have him to be last of the late breakers. Oh, Voivod's trying to get involved as well. It goes straight on.
Oh dear, and Burlak's having a piece of this action now. That's unfortunate. A little bit too brave on the brakes, and unfortunately he's cost himself a few positions there. But meanwhile, Tolberg able to get by Pelkinen. Always fancied that one with that amount of slipstream going down towards that huge braking zone. That was always going to be difficult to defend.
Strahm just managed to get past Oscar.
Indeed. Strahm and Oscar, I was just keeping an eye on those two on the start of this lap. Oscar's gone well wide through Mobile 1. Don't know if that was an issue or if he just took a wide line there, but that's definitely cost him a chunk of time to Strahm, and now Holmes is right up with Oscar. But no, as I was saying, Oscar and Strahm, they're having a great little fight. Oscar, very wise, he backed out of turn 1, they were side by side, let Strahm run a little bit wide onto the curb, got the momentum, and got the move done into turn 2. And evidently that got switcherooed a little later in the lap, but now we've got Oscar well under attack from Holmes in the Tanskinen car. Let's see, is anyone going to be the bravest on the brakes? No. going to take their time, momentum, and look at Holmes. Goodness gracious me, just carried so much more speed and momentum through turn 1 there, and surely he's going to be a little bit later on the brakes. Oh, he'll have the inside. Oh, that's just about not contact. A little bit of oversteer, a little bit too much right foot there on exit, but Holmes is through, just about unscathed. Oscar, he's down to 5th now.
And he's going to be on the back of that 4th place car though, as we go into the hairpin. So yet again, it's going to be Johnson's not very far behind it, and neither's Tolberg. He's kind of sitting back, seeing what's going on. Holmes down the inside. Oh, it's going to be an interesting fight going into the next corner as well. We're going to, I can't remember what it's called I'm coming up to, but the right-hander. They're not going side by side. No, a bit of a gap between them now. But it's interesting for Holmes and Johnson, because they're kind of trying to fight these other cars around them without fighting each other, which is very difficult for teammates not to do.
Indeed, and goodness gracious, evidently that Tansman, he must have quite a bit of downforce, so either that or he's got those tyres really working well. There's so much more speed on exit from some of these corners. I mean, he got side by side there through Mobile 1. As we go down now into Sachs corner, just about able to hang on is Adam Osger there. Good driving. This is what we love about these second races with a reverse grid. You get some drivers who are quick. You know, everyone's very close here, within a second of one another. And we've got some great racing as a result. So we've got a gaggle of 4 cars here. This might... Oh, goodness gracious me. A little bit of duck in and hope that someone behind you will leave you a bit of space there. Everyone just about got through turn 1, but no, great scrap developing here over what it will be the 4th place position as we now move through turn 3 and turn 4 on this lap 8 of 17.
This fight's going to go on for a while, isn't it? I'm just saying. Up front, it's still 0.7.
Indeed, that gap has definitely come down. In fact, actually, visibly, the 2 cars are quite close together. That might just be just 2 Tanskanens. Oh, we're just hearing from cameraman extraordinaire the 2 Tanskanens. As we were saying earlier, very difficult to race without, or race with your teammate without causing drama. A little bit of drama. There was some contact between the 2, but by the looks of it,
didn't lose any places or gain any places, but it was a slight tap. As Holmes is still fighting Oscar for that 4th spot.
Exactly what you don't want, just a little bit of drama as Polaris and Olja have retired from the race here. Don't know quite what the cause was for that, but they're no longer in it, which is a great pity. But that was a lovely move there from Holmes through Mobile 1. Oscar, he's fighting back, but I don't think he'll find a way through Sachs curve there. But yes, as we were saying just before that, Teemu Toika has crushed this gap. It was 1.3 seconds just a few laps ago. It's now less than 2/10. Right on the back of the gearbox of this Katana Motorsports car. This might be the move for the lead, which may stick to the end of the race. We'll have to see what happens. But Teemu, feeling racy, you can see that leader car right ahead of him. I'm sure he's going to throw everything he's got at him to try and take the lead of this race. As they go around turn 4, they're now onto this long left-hander. We call the Parabolica down towards the hairpin. Will he be able to get the slipstream here on Gretsch and try and make a move on this lap? We'll have to wait and see. To me, he looks a little bit far back, so let's just focus on getting that braking done, getting absolutely optimal acceleration out of this corner and see if we can force anything into Mercedes.
I'm just watching. Johnson's kind of gone back a little bit, down to 8. Holmes is up to 4th, his teammate. And we've got Oscar and Tolberg fighting each other side by side at the moment. They go down towards the corner, I always forget his name.
That's turn 7 into Mercedes here.
Mercedes.
Like Oscar has just about got that one covered this time around, but they now have to be careful because they've got Mr. Petter Burlak. He's up to P7 now, and he's just keeping a watching brief on this as Jesper, he's got his car well alongside, and Oscar, he's not having any chance.
Pelkonen's lost his front wing, I think. Yeah, that was an interesting one he had. He was fighting Ben Warren there, and he kind of dived down the inside, but Ben Warren has got... It looks like he had like going a bit sideways, caught it, and it snaps into Pelkonen. That was a very odd one. I don't think it was on purpose, but it did look very odd.
Meanwhile, we've got a scrap here now over P7, 8, 9. We've got Burlak, Verzilli, and Johnson. Burlak trying the outside round turn 1. That was always going to be a bit of a risky move. Verzilli still holding on to that P7 for now. Burlak, he's just having to keep a watching brief now for Johnson. Evidently, you've been a little bit compromised trying that outside line. And we'll have to see if Burlak, with his superior top line speed, if that applies to the cars around him now. The man who was fighting last break, Eric Strachan, he's still in P3. He's now within a second of the lead, so we may have a three-way fight for the lead in a few moments' time. But it looks like Burlak, oh, he's got that car just about stopped. Verzilli, he goes a little defensive, perhaps a little late, but Burlak, job done. He's up to P7. and he's now going to think about potentially chasing down Adam Oscar. But Verzilli, he's got a superior exit out of the hairpin through turn 7. They're side by side. Who's going to be the latest on the brakes into Mercedes? It looks like it's going to be Verzilli, but Burlak covers him off, and I think that's got to be job done for this time round, unless Burlak makes an exit or a mistake on exit here.
Verzilli's car looks very sideways out of a few of these corners here. He's either putting down power too early, or he hasn't got enough wing to really kind of keep the car floored.
Yeah, one of the two. You know, you've got to make sure that your tyres, of course, are at optimal pressures. In fact, that was a little four-wheel slide, not quite getting the car to stop and turn in onto the apex there from Verzilli. So he's clearly pushing the car to its limit, and unfortunately, it's just costing him a bit of time on that time round. Burlak is already up to the back of Oscar, who just ran very wide on exit there, and in fact, Burlak has taken the position. Will he hold it into turn 1? Just about. He's on that exit curb. Oscar's got a superior.
Look at Verzilli.
And Verzilli,
yes, go both of them. He's going to be on the inside for this. It's going to be last and late breakers.
I think
all those two are going to take. I think if he gets the power on, he's going to have both of them.
So he has to be careful here. You don't want them to swap ends. And
we should probably jump to the front there, as it's Eric Strahan. He's having a look at Kimi Toyka down the inside of turn 6. I think he's just about going to have him. He's been catching up, like we've pointed out, for quite a while now, and yet he's done it. He's up to 2nd.
Meanwhile, Burlak, he's up the inside for the hairpin. He's just about got that one covered. We've now got Verzilli. He's having to keep his eyes on the Tanskinen car of Johnson, who evidently wants a piece of this fight. And now David Yunt is up in P10. He's keeping an eye on all this.
Strahn's already on the back of Gretsch. Eric Strahn's already back on turret Gretsch already. He's looking around as we enter the stadium complex in sector 3. I think he's got a much better exit out of this corner. He's going to dive down the inside. Terence gave him the room. Is he going to try and hang it on the outside? Nope. Strahan in the lead.
Strahan takes the lead. He was very quick in the first race, of course. We've had that drama. But Strahan leads as we now complete lap 11 of 17. We're on to lap 12. As we cross the line, Gretsch, he's not far behind though. Don't cross him out of this equation, as he unfortunately went wide. Perhaps a bit pushed the commentator. But Gretsch doing a great job for the Katana Motorsports team. He's still in P2. And we've got Teemu Toyka. Although he's been close for a little while now, perhaps he didn't get the chance to make a move, but he hasn't been able to make a move yet. It's one thing to catch, quite another to overtake, as Jesper Tolberg sets the fastest lap of the race.
Johnson forces his way past Oscar. Oscar's gone round, I think. Yep, he's lost quite a few places there.
Oh, that's a real shame.
It looks like Johnson kind of forced the issue, and that sadly how spun Oscar around. He's lost a further 2 or 3 places. It looked 4 actually.
That's a real shame. He was driving a great race, and unfortunately, it looks like just a moment there has cost him. He's still in the points though. He's in P12. That'll be a good haul of points. He now has to keep an eye on Juha Tuonainen in the second THR car. David Yunt has, of course, benefited from that. In fact, everyone has benefited from that in that top little leading group there. Meanwhile, Gretsch still defending hard between himself and Toyka. The gap at the last timing point was less than 4/10 of a second. It looks a bit closer now as we're going into the stadium section, around the Sachs curve, turn 12, through this little left-right kink down into the final 2 corners. Strahan has now built a 1.5 second gap on this one lap alone, so evidently he wants to get the job done so he can just contemplate getting the car home safe and stand on that top step this evening.
Let's watching Oscar at the moment. He's down, like I said, having had that spin, he's down in 13th, or been tapped man. He needs to be very careful. His driving is rather violent at the moment. He's trying to fight to a 9 in, and a few manoeuvres were very risky, as he's now trying to defend from Peter Duvela, and yes, he needs to be very careful with driving there.
Johnson made a small mistake there going through turn 1. David Yunt has benefited. He's now up to P8, but he now has that Tanskinen car to deal with. As we're just hearing that Toyka, goodness gracious me, he's feeling very amorous. He wants to have P2.
Oh, the braking! So who's going to gain from that then? Jesper's going to be very close to him now, and that's that kind of opportunity gone.
Combined ooze in the commentary box and on the camera position there. Oh, I think that was very late on the brakes. Unfortunately, the curb is not the most grippy of things. Yeah, it's possibly a little bit of rear locking, suggests our cameraman extraordinaire, and I wouldn't disagree with him. So Gretsch, he's done a good job. He's got that gap now. It's a second. It is in fact a second now that he's been able to build because of that. We'll have to see if Teemu can reel that in as the laps continue to tick over. The gap, though, between Gretsch and Strahan is now up to 2.5 seconds, and in fact, Strahan set the fastest lap of the race last time around.
Oscar's going. Oh, he's thinking about diving on the inside of 2.9, and then he's going to be very close to the gravel. No, he's kept it on the curbs. He's very fighty to go get his kind of very spicy, that sounds terrible. Get his places back.
Frisky.
But Schroeter's up ahead, pulling away, so he's kind of losing out on a large haul of points because of that being tapped round. Oh, Devela wants to get involved. That's an interesting manoeuvre, but he's done it. Yeah, forced his way up to 13th place. So Oscar going to fight back after turn 1. Looks possible.
There we've got a fight developing now between Petter Bolak and Jonathan Holmes in the other, or in the Tanskinen car here. Petter, we know he's got good straight line speed. He's slipstreaming right up to the back of the gearbox of Holmes, and we've now got a fight for P4. It looks like Jesper, he's also wanting to get on the podium again here in this second race. We're on lap 14 of 17. He's now taken Toika for P3, so he's now on the podium again. And he has got a second and a bit to try and cover to catch Gretsch, and then a further 3 to catch Strawn. So it might be perhaps a little bit risky to try and catch, or a little bit unlikely he would catch Strawn, unless Strawn makes an error. But you never know, he might be able to get up to P2. We'll have to see how this one develops.
Just looking a bit further down the field, we lost Simon Smith, sadly retired. His car, God bless him, wasn't looking in the best of the shape when I kind of went to him earlier. So we got kind of around the last points playing. It's currently being held by Sandeep Chodra of Hansko Mebius, just a second down the road. But again, it's kind of watching Devela, Tunainen and Oscar for 12th, 13th, 14th. They're really battling it out. They're leaving nothing on the side. They are really fighting each other.
The plot thickens. Jesper Tolberg has caught and is currently potentially looking at overtaking Torrance Gretsch as he set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap. Jesper, he's clearly stoked up. He wants to try and get onto the second place of, or the second step of the podium. He's got the slipstream going through the parabolica here. Looks like he's well past Gretsch here as they go into the braking zone, 4th and 6th, the hairpin. And it looks like Gretsch, he's trying to hang it in there.
Oh,
he's run over the back of Toika. Toika is going up. Thank you very much. And that is that. And I am going to have that podium position back. He's up into P2, and in fact Jesper's still in P3, so Gretsch is the big loser there. Unfortunately, just mounting the back of that smile poke out. Not quite the intended way of overtaking through the hairpin.
We've been saying how some of these rear front wings have been kind of underneath these rear wings. That front wing went over the rear wing.
Indeed.
It's kind of around the hairpin.
So not what you want to be seeing in your mirrors is a car flying over the top of yours, but thankfully that wasn't the biggest drama in the world, and all cars still continuing. So this group still very closely knit together. Gretsch still could potentially make a move, as Teemu and Jesper now, I'm sure, will have a good fight for the decision between who's going to be on the second step. It looks like Teemu's having to go defensive as we go into turn 1 this time around. That's got to compromise him on exit. And look at this, Gretsch, he's feisty. He wants a podium position. He's been able to get a great exit out of turn 1. Looks like Jesper may have to contemplate a bit of defence here, but by the looks of it, he's been able to hang it around the outside now. Can Gretsch get in that slipstream? We're on lap 16 of 17. Only a few more moments to go in this race. Can he make a move and get onto that podium? You know what, something? If he plays his cards right, Teemu and Jesper have a moment. I'm sure he will. As Teemu and Jesper, they are now alongside each other. And Jesper, he's got him on the brakes. And Gretsch, he's tried it again. He's not fazed by jumping over cars' rear wings. He put it right up the inside there. Jesper is up into second place. And Teemu is down into third. So we have to see between Teemu and Gretsch who is going to really push it. Gretsch much later on the brakes into Mercedes, but Toika, he's got that line, lovely stuff. Nailed the apex perfectly, and he's got a good exit as well. So,
this is allowing Strawn to just pull away at the moment. He's got a 5.6 second lead, so he can kind of back off a little bit for the as he comes up to the last lap.
Indeed, he's got a few back markers to perhaps consider. We've got Hoekstra, I think, in the second YTF1 car. He's well out the way though. Nice. That doesn't pose Strawn any further issue on this lap, but he does have a few back markers to potentially deal with. Just hearing that David Yunt in the THR car has spun, which is a disaster so close to the end of the race. That's taken him out
on the curbs.
And in fact, he's lost his rear wing, so that is well and truly race over for him. You'll have to get that repaired. I believe it's been 3 laps, but since we're on our final lap, you might be able to get away with that one, but I certainly wouldn't want to be driving one of these cars around here without a rear wing. Anyway, we're on to our final lap here. Vasily! Oh my goodness gracious me! Vasily, he is on fire! He's hit someone, we don't know, I didn't quite catch what happened there, but...
Now, no, so basically he's gone out of turn 1, and he's kind of gone very wide. He just nabs the curbs, and he's just lost it. And he's spun it round, and oh dear, that was Ben Willis that hit him, I'm afraid. that's Ben Willis. Well, I think he's going to be retiring. He hasn't got a front left wheel at the moment, so I can't see him finishing the race.
These cars are stiff. It's the final lap. You never know. He might be able to get his three-wheeled wagon across the line, which is what we would love to see. Meanwhile, Strawn, he has had a mighty quick car all evening. He wasn't able to quite convert it in the first race, but he hasn't made a single mistake in this second one. He's coming round turn 12, the Sachs curve. He's going to see if he can get past Joshua Anderson here, a back marker, into the final section. Oh no, it looks like he's going to think better of it. Doesn't want to have another drama through this section here, but Strawn comes round the final corner to complete 17 laps, and Enterprise GP, he wins the second race here of the Formula Challenge here at the Hungaroring. Congratulations, Eric. Clearly been on it the whole race. Jesper Tolberg has come home in second, as it happens in the Smile Power car. So 2 podiums for Jesper. A great evening for him. He's followed home by Timu Toika and Terence Gretsch. A great race there to come home in 4th for the Katana Motorsports team. Peter Burlak, he's come through the field. He's come up to 5th place. And the 2 Tanslin cars are together, as they have been for most of the races this evening. They come home. Jonathan Holmes in P6 and James Johnson in P7.
So, what I think Ben Willis is actually 3 wheels on his wagon. So he's going to be kind of just pulling himself round just to say he's kind of finished. But we could be waiting a while.
You'll have to see. Meanwhile, our finishing order, we've got Ben Warren in P8. Petter Duvalier, Phil's one to watch. He's finished in P9. It's a good bucket of points for the Walk Racing team. There, we've got Mike Schroten in the Racing Team Schroten car, followed by Jua Tuanainen, THR. Hasko Mevius, he has finished in P12, in the second Enterprise GP car, followed by Sandeep Choda in the JRT. Mark Wicks, our pole man, he came home in the points in P14. And Alma Mosgar, after a great race and a few unfortunate moments, he took our last points paying position of the evening in P15. Goodness.
We're just waiting on Ben Willis. Come on, man. He's just going around the final corner, and Ben Willis in 28th position. Somehow he's not
finishes in his 3-wheel night wagon. Great stuff. And goodness gracious, we thought the first race was amazing as far as scraps, and of course we had that last moment. But we had lots to keep an eye on here in our second race. As always, it threw up all sorts of dramas and some great racing as well. Phil, your highlights.
There were some battles up and down. As we said, Oscar was really getting himself involved, and he was unlucky to get tapped round. But yeah, great racing. There'll be a few incidents. I think we'll be looking over from both race 1 and 2 as to who was in the right, who was in the wrong. But yeah, a fun session. We didn't see any tyre swaps, I don't think, in either race. It was interesting, which bodes well for the rest of the season.
Yep, you want to know something? We had an expectation of where it was a hot track, as we had in Malaysia, in fact, and goodness gracious, it didn't quite pan out as we perhaps expected. But that's what we love about motor racing, be it virtual or real. So many different variables, you can't predict them all, even if you think you know what's on form or not. You just don't always tend to find it works out in the way you might think. So 2 highly entertaining races there, and I'm pleased to say that we do have some drivers joining us for interviews after the race. So first of all, I will welcome to the commentary box and congratulate on 2 super races, Mr. Eric Strawn driving the Enterprise GP car. Eric, first of all, congratulations on that superb win in race 2, and honestly, some truly fantastic racing in race 1. How was your evening?
It was pretty good, I guess. I still not very happy about race 1. I should have finished either first or second. Got third. I didn't want to risk anything. I mean, I didn't think I did anything wrong against Peter, but I've seen some kind of strange penalties being handed out, so I thought I'd better not take a risk, so I let him pass again. And yeah, in race 2, just everyone kind of slid out of my way when I came past, which was nice.
Yeah, and the thing I have to call out is that amazing overtake you had in that first race around the outside of Petter into turn 8 Mercedes from absolutely nowhere. I kid you not, everyone here had their jaw on the floor as you were doing that. Was that just, oh, I'm going to try this and see what happens, or was that a planned move?
See, turn 8, which was that? I got no idea.
It's the left-hander by the big fancy grandstand.
Mercedes.
Aha, I think, okay, yeah, I think spontaneous, I guess. I wasn't really lining him up. I was actually lining up into that quick right-hander where I was so much quicker than him every time. Was gonna try to go down there on the final lap, but he was too far away. So that was what I was aiming for. But yeah, you're welcome, I guess.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's gonna. I'm chalking that one down as my move of the season so far, and I'm sure. I mean, it's going to take something special to try and top that as overtake of the season. So, impressive driving, great stuff, and we're also very pleased to welcome podium finisher in race 2, Mr. Teemu Toika. Teemu, great race. How did you find this evening's racing?
It was mostly clean for me, but I heard in the on our channel that there were quite a bit of carnage, I would say.
Indeed, there was definitely some rubbing, and there were certainly a few dramas in the second race. A question for both of you, if you don't mind. We did hear just before the race that there was definitely going to be a question about tyre wear, and how, of course, then your setup plays into it. Do you go with a high wing or low wing? Approaching the event, did you have any particular plans? Were you worried about tyre wear?
Nope.
I didn't even know about tyre wear, so I just didn't care.
Goodness gracious, I think we've been fed misinformation, Mr. Morby, but well.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen kind of, having driven these cars ourselves a little bit, we've seen the tyre wear can be rather high. We thought that with these medium to high-speed corners, we'd be seeing possibly some pit stops, but it looked kind of, there was a few people with traction issues near the end of the race. That was probably more so where it was a very interesting track where you could kind of go through either a high downforce setup with a kind of stadium complex, as we saw, I think, Eric, you did, or we could see the other side where people were going for the kind of straight line speed. Which way did you two guys go? Let's start with you, Eric. I think you went for the kind of high downforce side of things.
Yes, I had more downforce than a lot of people, it seemed like, and that was really good through the final sector. Not so good through the first two, I found out.
How about you, Teemu?
Actually, my teammate just sent me a setup about an hour before the free practice, and I just went with it. I was with lower downforce.
Oh, that's good to hear. Obviously, some cooperation in teams. That's always a wonderful thing to hear. Good bit of cooperation. Well, it's netted the team some good points.
Not really cooperation if he does it by himself, and I just feel it.
Honesty as well. Wow, you're marketing yourself wonderfully here, Teemu. Right, well, one final question for the both of you. Obviously, this was round 10. We've got 7 more rounds to go. We're going over to the Hungaro Wing for our next event. Are there any tracks on the calendar which we'll be racing in the very near future that either of you are particularly looking forward to?
No.
We're back to the honesty again.
Oh, fantastic.
Not really. I haven't looked too much, so I'll see what comes up and try to do my best.
Great stuff. Well, I love the honesty, and I've loved the racing tonight. There's been all sorts of dramas, of overtakes, of things, too many things to keep an eye on. Phil, your final words for us tonight.
It's been very exciting. We've just seen a lot of attacks, kind of, and very good defensive moves. A few kind of interesting incidents we will continue to look over the weeks ahead as we move to Hungaroring. I've really enjoyed this evening. The weather's been good for it. It's been some highly entertaining battles, even in the midfield, where I love to watch. And a very good, fun evening.
And I could not agree more. And I'm now waiting and waning for more of this, what has been superb Formula Challenge season. We'll be visiting the Hungaroring next. You thought Hockenheim was a little close quarters. Just wait until you see some of the corners on that course being the Hungaroring. And goodness gracious, as you so rightly said, some great battles up and down the field, and plenty to discuss between now and the next round of Formula Challenge. But if you want to keep an eye on other events that we may be running, why don't you head on over to the website GPVWC.com. All sorts of leagues. We've got open wheels like the Formula Challenge here. We have the Career Ladder where you can step up through various stages of the open wheel genre, as well as tin top racing, be it touring cars, be it Porsches in the WSS, and of course we've got the Masters Series. We'll have the Daytona 500 in the next few weeks as well. Our next broadcast, though, is tomorrow. We will have the Super Cup coming from Hockenheimring. Another 2-race session for you tomorrow. And to close, I'd just like to thank all of you for watching. We've had some superb racing, and as always, Formula Challenge never fails to disappoint. I've been Chuggy. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time out on the racetrack.